For over 25 years, my next guest has been one of the leading figures in American popular music. On Monday, May 16th, he will be appearing with dozens of other stars on Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, and Forever, right here on this very television network. We're delighted to have him with us tonight. Welcome, please, Mr. Smokey Robinson. Very nice to meet you. Yeah.
No, I'm just a nut who came up on the elevator.
Yeah, yeah. It's really a thrill and a treat to meet you, and I'm glad you could work us into your schedule. We got to go away for station identification, but we'll come back. Got to go right now? Shop around, you really got a hold on me. My girl, the way you do the things you do, on and on, since I lost my baby, going to a go-go, oh baby, baby, on and on and on. Many, many more that this man is responsible for. And we're going to go away for station identification. Smokey Robinson and I will be right back. Darn nice, wasn't it? Paul Schaefer and the gentleman put together a little Smokey Robinson medley for us, and we enjoyed that. You folks, unfortunately, didn't get to hear it, but coming up later, Roy Firestone will be here. Tomorrow, Billy Crystal, Lorraine Newman, and producers of television's greatest commercials, Joey Albrecht and Scott Guerin, so you know the security will be tight tomorrow night. Smokey, you know, I was just looking over this list. This is just not a list of the songs you have made popular, but a list of songs that have been covered by other groups. And this is an impressive compilation here. Get Ready, pretty hot. Now, tell me about the show. 25 years of Motown.
The 25th anniversary of Motown, and it's a great reunion. In fact, there are several reunions within a reunion there, because we have several groups that haven't been together for many, many years, such as the Jackson 5 with Michael, of course, and Michael will be doing Billie Jean on the show also by himself, but with Jermaine hasn't been with the group for 8 years, and the Miracles, Claudette, my wife, she hasn't appeared with the group in about 16 years, and we have Dinah Ross and the Supremes, Mary and Cindy.
Now, how did that work out, all of these reunitings? Would that work out pretty well?
Well, yeah, it worked out great. In fact, it was like a big homecoming for everybody because of the fact that I say once a Motowner, always a Motowner at heart, you know. And,
now, you were pretty much the franchise for this label for a long, long time, weren't you? You were the first big act, right?
Yes, well, I'm happy to say that. We were the first act that was signed there, and we started recording in 1959.
How did that come about?
It came about really because of an audition that the Miracles, we had gone to this audition for Jackie Wilson's manager, and at the time, Berry Gordy, who is the founder of Motown Records and the Motown Industries, was writing songs for Jackie Wilson, and he happened to be there, and the guy that we went to do the audition for hated our group, and however, we had sang a bunch of songs that I had written while going to high school. And this was impressive to Barry because he was a songwriter, and he wanted to know where we got the material from, so he met us outside, and we started to talk about it, and he started to tell me, you know, what was wrong with my songs and so on down the line, and we became the best friends, and here we are today. What was
wrong with your songs in those days?
Everything.
What did Barry tell you?
Well, he said I was nuts. No. What was wrong? I was not. My songs were not. They didn't flow. You know, I was a great rhymer. You know, I could always rhyme things very well, but they had no continuity as far as telling a complete story. You know, I would binge off on different ideas throughout the first verse.
Yeah.
There'd be 5 ideas in the first verse.
Do you have an example that comes to mind readily or not?
Well, I can give you sort of an example.
Okay.
Say, for instance, in the first 2 lines, I said, well, it's really good to have you in my arms again, and I love you being here. And that would be rhyming, of course. And then in the next 2 lines, I would say, I'll be glad when you come back because I haven't seen you in 10 years.
Yeah.
But that would be rhyming, too, you know? And so it went like that.
Yeah.
And he explained to me that a song should be a story. It should be like a book in 2.5 minutes. We used to be confined to 2.5 minutes in those days.
Now, how did
do a song.
When Berry Gordy signed an act, did he let him alone? Obviously not. He had a lot of ideas about how they should function, perform, and...
Of course. I would say he is probably the genius of the record business because he started something that had never been done before and that will never be done again, such as a special. I mean, the special is one of those things. It would probably never be done again with all those people on stage. I mean, we had, like I said, Dinah Ross and the Supremes. We had Marvin Gaye. We had the Four Tops, the Temptations. Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me go back to the right after you guys signed.
What we had was we had a school there. It was called Artist Development.
Yeah.
And when you signed with Motown Records and you made a recording contract, it was mandatory that you went to Artist Development. You didn't have a choice, you know. There was no saying, well, I just want to make records and I don't want to go to school. You had to go to school, and at Artist Development, you learned everything. You learned how to walk down the street. You learned how to greet people who would come up to you and talk to you as a stranger. You learned how to do interviews. You learned how to do things on stage, stage presence, choreography, harmonies. You learned hygiene. You learned everything that there was to learn, really, at that school, and it was very good for all of us.
Was he responsible for the, you mentioned the choreography, all of the precision moves that the groups were doing and became a trademark?
Well, only at first for the Miracles, you know, because like I said, we were the first group and we were the only group there, so he had a lot of time to work with us, so he used to make up routines for us and everything. But after we really got started, I mean, we hired other people to run Artist Development. Artist Development was headed up by a man named Harvey Fuqua, who was formerly with the Moonglows. And he had on his staff Charlie Atkins, who was our choreographer, and Maurice King, who taught harmonies and vocal arrangements, and Johnny Bristol, who did like lighting and so on and so forth for shows. And
what would you learn in a hygiene class?
Hygiene.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And we need one of those. We should have just a couple hours every afternoon. We'll conduct hygiene classes here for the staff. We're going to go away, but don't worry about nothing. We'll be back with Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson, the group originally was not the Miracles, was it?
No, originally we were the Matadors, and when we went for this audition, my wife's brother was singing with us while we were the Matadors, but he had had his mother to sign for him to go to the service, and he went to the service, and this audition came about, and we took her with us because she was in a sister group called the Matadorettes, and she knew all of our stuff. So we took her with us, and when we finally met Barry and we got a chance to record and everything, we had to come up with a name that was suitable for guys who had a girl with them. I mean, we couldn't very well be the Matadors, and she was in there.
The girl, again, was the sister of the guy who went to the service.
Yes. Yeah. And so we put a bunch of names into a hat, and the Miracles came out. I mean, we had a bunch of names that would be suitable for that.
What were the other names?
We had the Gardenias and the Sparrows and the trees and the flowers and the birds, you know, many names.
Yeah.
But
no, Miracles makes it. That was a good choice.
Yeah.
I think you lucked out there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that this show, you taped about 4 hours of performances for the program and cut it down to 2 hours.
Yes, unfortunately, we had to cut it down airtime for 2 hours, but eventually, perhaps the entire thing will be shown. We hope so. But on the 16th, it's going to be shown for 2 hours on NBC at 9 o'clock. And
we have less than a minute of what you're going to see on that program. Do you know what we're going to look at here, Smokey?
I don't know exactly what we're going to see, but I'd just like to mention the fact that we are being hosted by Richard Pryor, who is a former Motowner, and we're going to have Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and some guest stars like, like Linda Ronstadt and Dick Clark and Tim Reed and Howard Hessman and
wow.
Several people.
So
we have one guy from England, Adamant, who has a big record on Where I Love Go.
So you guys aren't messing around here with this special.
No, we're not. That's right.
All right. So let's take a look here. This is what you'll see when you watch the Motown special right here on NBC on the 16th. That's great. That's great. Well, those are great moves, too. Those are just killer moves. That's
wasn't that fantastic?
very nice stuff.
Artist development,
Yeah,
see?
that's right. Now, isn't it amazing to you? Now, tell me how many of these people who were with the original group came after you to Motown. How many of them were actually out of the Detroit area?
All of them.
Now, isn't that astonishing that that pocket of the country would produce a dominating influence in modern music like that?
Well, you know, David, I think that every area of the country has that same amount of talent. It's just waiting there to be discovered, and it just so happens that Berry Gordy was in Detroit, which was very good for the talent in Detroit, and he started the complex there, and it gave Detroit an outlet for their talent. And so, of course, the talent came in droves. I mean, we could not possibly have signed all the people who came to be signed, but I'm sure that especially every large city, and probably every township and everything, has an abundant amount of talent, but it's just the fact that they don't have an outlet like Motown to be discovered through.
Well, it's an amazing piece of history, and from the looks of this, the show is going to be a lot of fun. And it was a pleasure meeting you, Smokey.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for meeting us. Smokey Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Roy Firestone is here all the way from Los Angeles.